Verstappen recovered from 6th to finish 2nd at the Hungarian Grand Prix despite these persistent mechanical issues. That drive proved his racecraft can still compensate for a fundamentally weak package, but heroics cannot mask systemic problems forever. The rear wing failure during Hungary qualifying was particularly alarming. He explicitly cited safety concerns in his post-session comments. This is where the narrative gets complicated. Reported details about the exit clause come from media sources rather than official documents. Contracts remain private by design, so treat specific thresholds as reported information, not confirmed fact. The October deadline stands regardless. Red Bull knows the stakes. They reportedly offered a new deal to remove the escape hatch entirely. German outlet Bild detailed a one-year extension through 2029. That offer included higher salary and no performance clauses. Verstappen has not accepted any such proposal as of early August. His father Jos responded on X instead. He dismissed extension rumors with 5 blunt words: "You know absolutely nothing." That post landed in early August 2026. It directly contradicted the substance of Bild's reporting. This creates an unresolved contradiction in the public record. We cannot confirm which version reflects reality. What we can confirm is the winless streak. 11 races without a victory marks historic underperformance. Technical director Pierre Wache maintains they will win before season's end. He cites ongoing RB22 development programs as justification. Former Ferrari engineer Rob Smedley disagrees with that optimism. He rated Red Bull just 5 out of 10 mid-season. Smedley noted there is a different problem every weekend. Inconsistent balance prevents sustained development progress. The Ford power unit underperforms relative to key rivals. These technical failures activated the contractual trigger. Now the sport waits for October. The specific trigger that activated this entire situation was Verstappen finishing the first half of 2026 outside the top 2 positions in the Drivers' Championship. At the summer break, he sat roughly 6th in the standings, approximately 11 points behind Mercedes driver Kimi Antonelli, who currently leads the title fight. That massive points deficit is not just a statistical gap, but the precise contractual condition his camp insisted upon when negotiating his current deal running through 2028. They demanded this performance-linked exit clause due to long-standing apprehension about how the new 2026 regulations would reshape the competitive order. Those fears have now materialized in the worst possible way for Red Bull. The resulting exit window reportedly runs from the summer break straight through October 2026, creating a defined period where Verstappen can legally walk away. This is not indefinite leverage. It has an expiration date. Time is finite. Pressure mounts daily. Every passing race weekend without improvement brings that October deadline closer. Can Red Bull actually reverse this trajectory before the window slams shut? That question hangs over every strategic decision in Milton Keynes right now. The team's winless run through 11 Grands Prix makes the task exponentially harder. Their last such drought occurred in 2015 when Verstappen was still racing for Toro Rosso. Back then, he was a rookie fighting for midfield points. Now he is a multi-time champion tracked in uncompetitive machinery. The contrast is stark and painful for everyone involved. 4 podiums and 109 points through 11 races simply do not meet the championship contending standard his contract assumes. So where does that leave the negotiation dynamic at this exact moment? Manager Raymond Vermeulen told ESPN that Max wants to finish his time with Red Bull and would like to fulfill his 2028 contract. Yet Verstappen himself has consistently refused to commit publicly to staying past 2026. That silence speaks volumes in paddock negotiations. It keeps all options open while applying maximum pressure on his current employer. Sky Sports News reported his camp initiated contact with McLaren regarding a potential 2027 move. Speculation about that switch has grown steadily since the British Grand Prix. No team has confirmed any deal, and analysts caution against treating rumors as settled fact. But the mere existence of those conversations demonstrates the exit clause is functioning exactly as designed. It forces Red Bull to either fix the car or face losing their star driver. The RB22's fundamental issues make that fix incredibly difficult. Verstappen has repeatedly called the car undrivable across multiple race weekends this season. His radio messages paint a picture of genuine frustration rather than tactical gamesmanship. He stated explicitly that they never had anything this bad with everything together. Car degradation has replaced tire degradation as the primary limiting factor. Balance problems change from lap to lap, making consistent pace impossible. He described every lap as survival because the car simply does not let him push. From lap 1 of the new regulation era, he has not enjoyed driving this machine. That lack of enjoyment compounds the contractual pressure. Drivers rarely stay long-term in cars they distrust. Safety concerns add another layer of complexity. The rear wing failure during Hungary qualifying raised red flags beyond pure performance. When equipment becomes dangerous, trust erodes faster than lap time. Red Bull reportedly cut back his media access after his sharpest post-qualifying criticism. Managing driver morale now requires managing information flow as much as aerodynamic development. The technical root of this contractual crisis lies in the RB22's fundamental inability to deliver predictable performance. Verstappen has blasted the car on team radio as undrivable, a word he has used across multiple 2026 race weekends rather than as a one-off complaint. He told his engineers over the air that they never had anything this bad with everything together, signaling a systemic failure rather than isolated setup issues. What makes this particularly damaging is that the problem shifts dynamically during running. Car degradation has replaced tire degradation as the primary limiting factor, meaning the vehicle's balance changes from lap to lap instead of following a predictable tire wear curve. He explained that if you have a balance problem, that is one thing, but when it changes every lap, it becomes very complicated to manage. This unpredictability forces him into a defensive driving style completely at odds with championship-winning performance. He described every single lap as honestly survival for me because the car simply does not let him push. That phrase, survival, appeared in his post-session comments and reflects genuine physical and mental exhaustion rather than strategic exaggeration. From lap 1 of this new regulation era, he has stated he has not enjoyed this car for sure. Enjoyment might seem secondary to results, but driver confidence directly correlates with willingness to extract maximum performance from an unstable platform. When a multi-time champion says he cannot even put a bit of reference in because conditions shift constantly, it reveals a car operating outside its intended design window. The Ford Power Unit partnership, which replaced Honda after 2025, has repeatedly been named as an underperforming element relative to rivals. Red Bull Powertrains built this engine in-house, making its shortcomings entirely their own responsibility rather than a supplier issue. Combine that power deficit with aerodynamic inconsistency, and you get a package that fails to meet the competitive threshold his exit clause assumes. Former Ferrari engineer Rob Smedley rated Red Bull just 5 out of 10 in his mid-season television assessment, calling it a stinging verdict from someone who understands championship-winning machinery. He noted there is a different problem every weekend or something like that, highlighting how the team cannot establish a stable development baseline. Without consistency, upgrades become guesswork rather than targeted improvements. This technical chaos directly explains why the points gap widened so dramatically before the summer break. You cannot accumulate championship-leading totals when your primary focus is managing unpredictable mechanical behavior rather than optimizing lap time. The Hungary qualifying rear wing failure added safety concerns to the performance deficit. When equipment becomes dangerous, trust erodes faster than any aerodynamic fix can rebuild it. Red Bull reportedly restricted his media access after his sharpest criticism following that session, suggesting internal tension over how publicly these issues are discussed. But restricting words does not fix balance problems. Technical Director Pierre Wache maintains they will win before season's end through ongoing development, yet 11 races without victory suggests the path forward remains unclear. So what happens when technical fixes collide with contractual deadlines? The October exit window does not pause for wind tunnel correlation or dyno testing. It moves forward regardless of engineering progress. Amidst this technical turmoil, the negotiation table has become just as volatile as the racetrack. German outlet Bild reported specifically that Red Bull presented a new contract offer designed to eliminate the exit clause entirely. That proposal allegedly included a 1-year extension through 2029 with a higher salary and no performance-based escape mechanisms. On paper, it looks like a massive show of faith from Milton Keynes. They are reportedly willing to pay a premium to secure their star driver beyond the current 2028 agreement. But here is where the story takes an unexpected turn that complicates everything we thought we knew about these talks. Jos Verstappen publicly dismissed these contract extension rumors on X in early August 2026. His exact response to a post about Red Bull wanting to remove Max's exit clause was brutally direct. Those 5 words landed like a hammer blow to the speculative narrative. This creates a genuine twist in our understanding of the situation because we cannot simply accept the Bild report as settled fact. The contradiction between the detailed German reporting and the father's public denial remains unresolved. We do not know if the offer never existed, or if it existed but was already rejected privately before becoming public. What is confirmed is that Verstappen has not accepted any new offer as of the early August reporting window. Silence from the driver himself amplifies the uncertainty. While his manager Raymond Vermeulen told ESPN that Max wants to finish his time with Red Bull and fulfill his 2028 contract, Max has refused to commit publicly to staying past 2026. That distinction matters enormously in high-stakes contract negotiations. Fulfilling an existing deal is fundamentally different from signing a new one. One is obligation, the other is choice. Right now, only the obligation is confirmed. The choice remains deliberately ambiguous. Why would his camp allow such ambiguity to persist during a winless season? Leverage maximizes when options remain open. If Red Bull believes he might leave, they must accelerate development or improve contractual terms. If he appears locked in regardless of performance, urgency diminishes. Strategic ambiguity serves his interest perfectly while the RB22 struggles. So where does that leave the power balance right now? Every week of public contradiction consumes precious negotiation time before the October deadline. The championship deficit triggered the clause, but the contract dispute determines whether Red Bull retains the driver who could still salvage their season. Technical fixes address symptoms, contractual resolution addresses survival. Both must happen simultaneously, yet neither shows clear progress as August unfolds. Raymond Vermeulen's statement to ESPN that Max wants to finish his time with Red Bull and fulfill his 2028 contract carries specific legal weight in this negotiation. He framed it as a desire to honor an existing obligation rather than enthusiasm for future seasons. That distinction matters because Verstappen himself has refused to publicly commit to staying past 2026. Silence from the driver creates space for interpretation that his manager's words cannot fill. While Vermeulen speaks of fulfillment, Max speaks only of survival in an undrivable car. Those are fundamentally different emotional registers. One suggests loyalty, the other suggests endurance. Endurance has limits when safety concerns emerge. The Hungary qualifying rear wing failure introduced risk beyond competitive disappointment. When equipment becomes dangerous, contractual loyalty competes with personal preservation. Red Bull reportedly restricted his media access after his sharpest criticism, indicating internal friction over how these issues are communicated. But controlling messaging does not restore driver confidence. Confidence requires predictable machinery, which the RB22 has not delivered through 11 races. So what happens when verbal assurances collide with mechanical reality? Words cannot generate downforce, promises cannot recalibrate power unit mapping. Only tangible performance changes alter the decision matrix before October. Sky Sports News reported his camp-initiated contact with McLaren regarding 2027, keeping alternatives active while Red Bull struggles. No deal exists anywhere, but the conversation itself demonstrates leverage functioning as designed. Strategic ambiguity serves his interest during a winless drought. If he appeared locked in, regardless of results, urgency would diminish. Uncertainty forces action. Technical director Pierre Wache still targets a victory before season's end through ongoing development.